Hi, listeners. This is Amy Buzzati, and welcome to It's Conversation Time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy story. And like everything that I've had the opportunity to be a part of my whole life, it's a mix of providence and hard work and just meeting the right people at the right time.
In this episode, we sit down with Ivana Rowe, a former UC San Diego International Studies program student who now works with the policy team at Facebook. In this conversation, we reflect on her experience as an undergrad, creating the International Studies Student Association, her internship opportunity with the Obama administration, tips to undergraduate students, and self-care advice during COVID-19.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ivana Rowe, and I currently work at Facebook as a policy programs associate manager. I graduated from UCSD 4 long years ago in 2016. And while I was at UCSD, I was an international studies major with a focus in sociology.
What is the International Studies program? It's an undergraduate program offered at UC San Diego that challenges students to explore the processes and consequences of interactions among institutions and individuals at the international and national level and the global and local levels through an interdisciplinary lens. There are 9 major degree options, a minor, and there's also 3 different joint 5-year BA Master of International Affairs programs.
So what was your experience like in general at UCSD?
I really miss school a lot, which hopefully means that I had a really positive experience. It was just a really formative time for me, having 4 years and having the opportunity to study at such a great place like San Diego, both environment-wise, honestly miss being across the street from the beach every day. And then also just having the myriad of options available to me under the International Studies program was extremely, extremely helpful for me as I was a freshman trying to navigate what it was that I just decided to major in. Again, no one has a full picture of their career, but puzzle pieces, I really, really benefited from the resources of the major, the school, and most importantly, my fellow students, like getting to know people who all had so many interests and being able to meet and create a space as well, which I'll talk about later, where students could come and honestly share like tips, tricks, fears, worries. That's really like what I miss the most about college is having that space. So, yeah.
What was it like as an ISP student?
Yeah, so for those who are UCSD students listening, I was a ERC student, so Eleanor Roosevelt College, and I chose that very intentionally because I knew that I was going to be an international studies major. I can't speak for other ISP majors who were not ERC, but at least in ERC, there was a little bit of camaraderie around the fact that, there was a desire to build the identity of a global citizen. But outside the confines of ERC and my ISP classes, and getting to know just other UCSD students. I mean, this will come as no surprise to anyone. UCSD is a very STEM-focused school when we have amazing biology and biotech research that's funded out of our university. And it can feel at times that you are a minority, having a passion or a desire to dive into social studies. And just during the time I was at school, was really searching for a consolidated space where I could really ask those questions and think more about what this meant for, post-grad and what kind of job opportunities were available to me. It wasn't negative, but I definitely wish that there was more of a community when I first started off.
Yeah, and that leads us to the organization that you created. Can you talk a little bit about what motivated you to create it?
I was only able to do this with so much help. And so I'm never going to claim that this was like, I did this on my own. Like, Amy, you were so instrumental. I still remember like when I had this brainchild, I actually worked as a student assistant in the International Studies program. And without the conversations that I had with Amy and with other advisors and people who were just very, very open with their support, this never would have happened. And without the initial student leaders that stepped up and volunteered and said that they wanted to see this community be built, like it was all one team effort. ISSA was a large part of my identity while I was in UCSD, and the acronym stands for International Studies Student Association at UC San Diego. And a good friend of mine, her name is Angela, she and I both felt this sort of cavity at UCSD where there were so many smart, passionate students who were majoring in international studies with a variety of intents after post-college, or had a mix of interests, whether it be, business and econ or nonprofit and, sociology focus. And we wanted to just bring everyone together and say, look, like there's no one path. And that's what this major is about, is exploring all of those opportunities. So let's just get together. And, our student-led team did the work of collating resources and speakers and professional, volunteer, social activities. But the whole point was just to bring people together.
So you were an intern under the Obama administration. Like, how did that happen? I mean, we had a discussion about it, but like, I think this would be super valuable for the students to find out how you ended up at, as an intern at the Obama administration.
I want to make really clear that when I was in school, I did a lot of things, but what I did not do was, I was not very involved in local politics or national politics. Like, I have my own personal political thoughts, but in terms of being engaged in that community, that wasn't at the top of my list. And when I was inching towards graduation in 2016, I, had committed to myself that I'd be taking a little bit of break during the summer just for mental health break and just reset to really figure out what I wanted to do post-college, which is a privilege that I am really thankful for. However, the one opportunity I did shoot in sort of a moonshot application for was for the White House internship, which funnily enough, like I got a Facebook ad for. Ironic, because I work at Facebook now. And I just thought it sounded cool. Like, I wish I had a cooler reason, but I really just was like, that would be cool. And so spent a weekend, cooped up in my apartment and wrote this application. Then got really invested while I was writing it because, I knew it was a moonshot, but I just wanted to try my best. And, a lot of things aligned. And one of the core reasons I think that this opportunity was given to me is because one of my managers at the White House, the policy advisor, was from Torrance, California, and we share a same background as Taiwanese Americans. And so there was a lot of initial connection that led us to just clicking, and then she was open to giving me this offer. So I don't know all the reasons, but I think that's one of them. I worked in the Office of Public Engagement, so a ton of just bringing stakeholders into the White House, putting on relevant events. And the two portfolios that I assisted with were, number one, the Asian American community across the United States, so working a lot with advocacy groups and their programming, ensuring that our relationships were, chugging along well and that we had good communications, and also that we were co-producing events at the White House that spoke to, an alignment of priorities. And then the second portfolio that I supported was a very cool program called Champions of Change. So I think if you Google Champions of Change White House, you'll find an archived website of that program and everything it did. Essentially, that program brought in every 2 weeks a whole cast of characters, and they were just amazing Americans from all across the country who were just doing really great community work. And each session of heroes that we highlighted, and we would, bring them to the White House and have them speak on a panel and give them a tour and let their family come. It was so great. It was always a topic that the administration was focusing on at that point. So we had everything from sustainable fisheries. And I remember we had a sushi chef come in and he made a whole dinner for everyone out of sustainable seafood products, which is super cool, down to healthcare, and everything they were doing with Obamacare, and people who were just really passionate and making progress on that work in their home communities. If I ever need encouragement or want to share encouragement to people, it's like, you never know, you just go for it, because you really never know who's going to be on the receiving end of the application. You never know what kind of connection you're going to have with somebody. It really doesn't hurt to just, put in a good application. And the worst thing is, not now. Like,
do you have any tips in general for students?
As an undergraduate student, it's not uncommon to feel overwhelmed in a variety of ways. I think certain areas of study have more readily available support and resources. And, students are kind of following sort of just like modules that you just have to really work hard through and do well in order to gain, like, quote unquote success. If you're in a place that is less heavily recognized, or you hear less chatter about, and there's not one concrete way to do something in order to get that, A, or get that internship, that just really means that you need to advocate for yourself. And in order to advocate for yourself, you have to know yourself, and that is a process. But there are people on campus who are very willing to help you in that process. I still remember the first time I went to office hours, the first time I went to the advising office. It's always scary, but you're never going to know until you take that chance and put yourself out there and have that conversation. And 99% of the time, I have found that what I built up in my head was, like, not even close to reality in terms of the stress or the worry that I was experiencing, and then taking the chance to multiple times, like, saw something on a flyer, nobody wanted to go with me, and just went by myself and, like, learned about a cool opportunity. It's okay to do that because you're advocating for yourself.
That was me most of the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazing talks that, now GPS, back in the days it was IRPS. They hosted so many guest speaker series, and none of my peers wanted to go. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go by myself.
Yeah, and it's really, like, honestly unfortunate, but it's, I don't want to, everyone has their own, like, flow. But similar to you, Amy, like, the first ever job I got on campus was orientation leader at ERC, and nobody I knew wanted to go to that session with me, and I walked out with a job. So it's I'm not a super, like, competitive person. What I'm trying to say is, like, it's okay to go and, like, just do something for yourself, because there will be a payout that you really can't see unless you go.
With COVID-19 going on right now, like, how are you coping with it?
Just want to address, like, it's crazy. And for anyone listening who, is going through a really hard time, I'm so sorry. And I am very, very, like, grateful to be in a place where just at the get-go, the people I love and care about are safe and healthy. And so I have the incredible privilege of doing work that is, tied to the response. So it is quite busy for me working from home. And so in order to just kind of stay sane, I really, really leaned into, a lot of stereotypical, like, self-care methods, but I take joy in a lot of them. So I'm cleaning a lot. My apartment has never been cleaner. I've Marie Kondoed my closet. I'm, like, cooking a lot of new recipes. But one new thing I have done is I started running for the first time since high school. My recommendation is an app called Couch to 5K. My former roommate told me about this app, and for anyone who is cardio challenged like myself, the app is super cool because it builds a custom run plan for you. And each day there's a new goal for you to hit, and it's guided running. So while you listen to music or podcast or whatever you do while you run, the coach will be in your ear and tell you, like, when to start walking and when to start running and when you're nearing your end of the run. And they're very encouraging. And my other recommendation is a newsletter that I love called Girls Night In. It's founded by some cool ladies in Washington, D.C. And pre-COVID, it was all about self-care tips to begin with. And they've led some great initiatives regarding staying at home and taking care of yourself. And we'll link to great options to donate where it would have impact. So that's another recommendation.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ivana. It's been a pleasure catching up and also talking to you. And it's great to see where you're at. Really happy, really proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. And I owe a lot to UCSD and ISP. So I am always, always happy to chat. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to It's Conversation Time. My name is Amy Buzzati, and I hope you enjoyed our third episode with Ivana Rowe, International Studies Program, Class of 2016, now Policy Programs Associate Manager at Facebook. I hope you'll join us for more conversations and valuable life lessons. If you have any suggestions of conversations you would like to see and listen in the future, please let us know and leave a comment.